Hey guys,
Hi.
I'm Player 1!
Player 2.
Yay! And we actually just finished the series Resident Evil Revelations 2, and now we are ready to review it. First things first, we're going to talk about the storyline.
Alright, the story of the game has two intersecting campaigns, one being Claire and Moira, and the other being Barry and Natalia. Now, the Claire and Moira campaign starts when you're at a CEO party or something, and then a random military group smashes through the window and kidnaps you for no reason, and you wake up on this island that I keep forgetting the name of, and then your basic goal is to get out of this island. And then the Barry Burton campaign and the Natalia campaign has you Barry going to the island to find Moira, but what he finds is Natalia right when he gets at the docks, and Natalia may not be, exactly what she seems, and that is the basic premise of both campaigns.
Yep, and he actually just mentioned a huge plot hole, which is why the hell were they taken anywhere? We still haven't figured that out. I'm going to talk about interest right now and how interesting the game is. And I actually want Player 2's small opinion on this, so I put my little opinion in. I thought the storyline was interesting, minus the fact that there is that plot hole. I think it's something I kind of looked past and didn't really think about. But in the bigger picture, it's kind of important. We don't know why they were taken away. I thought the game was interesting enough to carry you through. They're separated into episodes, if you weren't aware of that. It's like episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what you get with that is you play Claire, then you play Barry, one episode. Like Claire, Barry, they keep going back and forth. And I think that actually adds interest to the story because you're not stuck with one group of people for so long. How do you feel about interest? Were you interested?
I was intrigued through part to part. At the end of each part, you want to keep playing the game. And that's what it does for you at a bare minimum. I'd say the plot gets way more interesting the further you go into it. So it's a very slow start. Some of the dialogue's very hit or miss. Like some things they say sound corny or cheesy, and you're just like, I don't know. But it's a budget title is what you tell yourself at the end of the day.
They leave a lot of notes out. We actually kept reading them, and then we're like, wait, they're not telling us shit. Why are we reading?
That's a great point. When you read the Kafka poems, and some of there's side content in the game that is little scripts of dialogue, and when you read them, you learn nothing. You learn nothing more about the world. You learn nothing more about the characters. It's just very confusing. There's maybe 2 or 3 that are worth reading, but even then you don't learn anything about the story. So it's what are those there for?
All right, next we're gonna talk about gameplay.
Gameplay is very easy to cover. It's a third-person action survival horror game. It is also a couch co-op game, which I recommend. That's how you play it. The controls are very fluid in this game, which means they are better than they have ever been in a Resident Evil series, period. The only gripe I have being that there is a skill tree that if you don't upgrade your dodge, you will die a lot more than you're supposed to. So basically my advice to them, if you're going to get this game, upgrade evade as soon as possible, because your evade is not even tolerable in the beginning of the game. But with the 60 frames per second graphics, shooting has never been easier. The only other part of the game is some puzzling, which you can't really call it puzzling because it's basically moving a box to an area to climb. That's the extent of puzzling that you're going to really be doing. And then there's a thing with generators and transporting an electric box, but it's easy. It's simplistic. And the only other style of gameplay is stealth, which you basically use in Barry's campaign primarily to conserve ammo.
Yeah, I didn't even use stealth in the Claire campaign. I think I used it maybe once. It didn't seem like that big of a deal, but when it comes to you being with Barry, there's a bunch of people everywhere, like zombies, and I think it becomes more important. But for Claire, I never really thought it was that important. And I think that's why they give you a bunch of guns and ammo, because you fight more bigger people than Claire. Another thing I want to talk about along with gameplay is Natalia, and how playing her you're going to probably hate it. Now, I enjoy it because I enjoy kind of being slightly helpful, but not doing the huge fights when I was in that campaign. But she is essentially useless, and I think the game, the whole game could have been so much better if they would make her do more things. Things that Natalia can do, she can throw bricks, and smoke bombs. That's the extent to it. When you throw bricks, you could possibly knock down an enemy, but you can't really do much other than that. So when it comes to playing Natalia, you want to have a couch co-op setting. This game is what Player 2 mentioned before. But if your friend is not really,
you're either gonna have to bite the bullet and play as Natalia, or you're gonna have to throw them under the bus to play Natalia because she sucks. She does have a skill tree that you can upgrade, but her bricks break after 2 or 3 hits. So I was like, why would I do that? Yeah. There's no reason. And then the other part of her tree is like more vision. We could see things already. The game's kind of small.
Yeah, there wasn't much to say about her. Like I said, I kind of enjoyed playing her because it was simple. It wasn't anything crazy like when I was doing Claire, but when it comes down to it, she's kind of useless. Another thing I just want to talk about really quickly before we move on to graphics is tiny little details that I think made this game for me. One of them being when you press X, it's kind of when you are going up, throwing your friend up a ladder up on a cliff, those little things, those animation parts, is that it actually teleports your partner other than your partner have to be right next to you. For example, in Resident Evil 6, you both have to be touching a door to open it. In this game, you don't have to do that, and I think it makes it easier. And maybe that could be a good or bad thing, but for me, it was more comfortable, and it lets the game move along the way it needs to move along and not drag. Another little thing is you can go into your friend's inventory, so maybe if they're fighting, you can take stuff from them and use it, and you can combine herbs with each other. It's very simple. Now we're going to talk about graphics.
Graphics of the game, very simple. I think it's 1080p native with 60 frames per second. And some people might say, oh, it doesn't have the production values of a Resident Evil number title. 1, it's a budget title, and 2, this is the best looking Resident Evil game I've ever played. The 60 frames per second gave you better reactionary time. The combat felt so smooth because of that frame rate being doubled. Like, it's essentially the most gorgeous Resident Evil game I've played. Like, I was so intrigued in the environment, everything felt seamless. Like, that's a great way to describe the game. After the loading screens, everything is seamless. There's like little to no bugs ever. Like, I don't think in our playthrough of the game we've ever experienced a bug or there was ever a graphical stutter. Like, the game was flawless. Yeah, it was polished to a T. So that's really all I have to say about graphics.
Yeah, and I'm not a big graphics person, so we're going to leave it at that. I think that explained it well enough. Next we're going to talk about value. Now, I didn't buy the game. Player 2 bought the game, so I'm going to let him kind of...
Yeah, let me tell you about value. What you're getting out of this game is you're getting 4 episodes that were released over the periods of just a couple months, but, my recommendation is that you buy the full product because it's worth it. And you'll see why here in a second. You get 4 episodes that'll last you up to 10 to 11 hours depending on how fast you like to blow through the game. And dialogue and, collectibles, all those things are there. I don't care really, but the game itself will last you 10 to 11 hours. The story's very intriguing. And you could add some replay to it, I guess. I'll let you cover that. You'll also get 2 bonus episodes that may last you 2 hours, maybe. They were very short.
They were very short.
They were very short.
But worth it.
One of them is worth it. The other one isn't. Is what I'll say. Basically, the struggle is worth it. Do not play Little Miss. Don't do it. Don't put yourself through it.
If you're a completionist, then go for it. Or if you don't
but
do
it sucks.
Watch ours, because we can play for like the entire time.
It sucks.
Yeah, as a replay value, something I want to touch on is we've actually replayed it, which is what you guys wouldn't really know. We played it for ourselves, just to play it, and we got to a certain point, and they were like, oh, we should test out our video. And then we're like, we should film it. So we've actually replayed it, that would make it 3 times. We didn't replay it all the way through, but we did replay the first up to 3 episodes, and there's 4. So as a replay value, I would replay this game again now, especially knowing we got more skill points, and we can use this. I just want to see what that was like, because when we actually came back to do our first playthrough of it, we already had Moira's crowbar already done, and I had weapons, and it was pretty badass, and I thought it was fun. We found more things. After that, I'm not huge on collectibles, but we did find more, and I thought that was interesting, saying, oh, you can replay this if you want more of the collectibles part that you can't get the first time through.
Alright, I just wanted to touch up really quickly. Raid mode is essentially an arcade style game. It's like, raid mode could be a completely different game in itself, and it could last you up to 20 to 40 hours if you really wanted it to. You can play as other characters in the Resident Evil franchise, including Leon Kennedy and Jill Valentine. So there's a ton of replay value in there because each character has their own set of unique abilities, and sometimes they can carry more weapons than other characters at an earlier level. Things like that. It's fun. You get loot from playing the games, and some loot has special like deviance to it. Like there was a pistol that was better for close range. Then there was a pistol that had rapid fire on it. Things like that. So raid mode.
Yeah, I was gonna say about raid mode. I am a sucker about setting. I thought this was really cool. I didn't play it. He played it. I watched a little bit. But they actually give you settings from like every other Resident Evil game, like to run through, and I just thought that was really cute.
Yeah, it has backdrops from like 6 a lot.
Yeah.
And it had other enemies from other Resident Evil games, like they had the weird blue guys from 6. They had the Battletoads from like the first Revelations.
Yeah, the Battletoads. Alright, final rating.
My final rating, 4 out of 5. I was initially, when I first played through the game, I almost gave it a 3.5.
Same.
Because of the plot left something to be desired, but after I played some of the bonus episodes and I played raid mode, I'm like, the value of this game beats AAA games that they release now. Like Far Cry 4 is not as big of a value as Resident Evil Revelations, or Infamous Second Son, or Titanfall. Like, it's embarrassing what people are putting out nowadays.
Do you want to explain our rating scale real quick so it makes a little more sense?
Our rating scale is just 1 to 5. It is not an inflated score review scale. Like, you know, mainstream media says a 7's a bad game. That wouldn't make sense to our rating scale. If something is a half amount of stars, so like 2.5 stars, that would be an average game. Like, we played it and we're like, this is okay. But anything below that means it's bad. Anything above it means it's good or pretty decent.
Yeah, I gave mine a 4 also. We actually really enough had like the same score throughout this whole thing. I think it's because we experienced together, because we were there during every complaint and every like great thing. So mine was also a 4. I think the thing that bumped me to a 4 was I didn't play raid mode, so raid mode kind of bumped it for him a little bit, but the thing that bumped me the most was the struggle. It was very short bonus playthrough, but it explains so much and it's a lot more interesting. And I kind of feel like the way it ended, they're gonna make another game.
All I can say is the struggle does leave it open to the exact same style of game that they just made, which is fantastic, and I will buy it.
I'm ready. I want to.
I will buy it.
I think they should do it. I think with how many good reviews, I haven't seen a lot of bad reviews about this game. I think they're gonna do it.
Like, I just hope it was well. I hope Capcom leaves it to them to do it, because they're kind of shafting all their other franchises and they're kind of focusing on like Street Fighter or something. I want them to make the next Resident Evil game. I don't want another 30 frames per second, you know, bombastic game. I want another game that runs this smooth, has this much polish.
It's fun.
It's great.
Alright, well thank you for watching our review. If you haven't even seen the series, why are you watching this review? Go watch the series first and come back. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys stick around. Play us out, player 2.